morning and welcome to IPED. Everywhere in Guyana for everyone in Guyana. I am Carlotta Buddy Walcott, the Administrative and Human Resources Manager and your moderator for this morning's event. At this time, we'll invite Mr. Jagdish Hariprasad, our CEO, acting, to give welcoming remarks.
Honorable Minister of Finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, Excellencies, Dr. Yesu Persaud, immediate past CEO, Mr. Ramesh Persaud, Board of Directors, special invitees, the media, colleagues, IPED team members, good morning and welcome to this auspicious occasion where we are celebrating the sterling contribution to Dr. Yesu Persaud to the establishment and growth of IPED. In 1985, through vision and determination, IPED was established under the leadership of Dr. Yesu Persaud. As the story goes, the Institute of Small Enterprise Development, as it was then called, opened its doors to serve micro and small enterprises with a staff of one, Mr. Jeff Adikin. Today, 35 years later, IPED has 96 team members and 14 offices across Guyana, where we serve our country, improving livelihoods and building sustainable micro and small enterprises. Dr. Yesu Persaud served us for 33 of those years as chairman of the board of directors. Today, we unveil this life-size bust, sculpted by Mr. Ivor Thom, in honor of Dr. Yesu Persaud's vision, his love for country and community, his service to micro and small entrepreneurs, and his leadership here at IPED. I welcome you all and thank you for sharing these moments with us. We invite you to reflect with us and celebrate the outstanding service of our founding chairman, Dr. Yesu Persaud.
At this time, Mr. Ramesh Persaud, who has served IPED for 11.5 years as the CEO, and whose brainchild this is, and is also the current managing director of DDL, he will come to make some remarks on his own behalf, and he will also read a statement from our current chairman, Mr. Kamal Samaru, who's unavoidably absent. Mr. Persaud, please come to make your remarks.
This is a very small but simple ceremony to recognize the work of Dr. Yesu Persaud and to put on permanent historical record his contribution to society. In our lifetime on earth, we encounter numerous challenges and opportunities. We also have great people who, due to their actions, contribute to making the lives of other members of society better, not by chance, but by deliberate intent and action. Dr. Yesu Persaud is one of many such persons who not only recognize the challenges faced by Guyanese society in the 1970s and 80s, but took actions and made choices to do something about those problems. After all, nothing gets done unless someone does it, as he frequently reminds us. Dr. Persaud's great desire of helping people to help themselves is why the Institute of Private Enterprise Development Limited exists today. We all desire to live a life of success and prosperity. IPED was created to ensure that micro and small business entrepreneurs improve their livelihoods by building sustainable enterprises. IPED, as a non-governmental and not-for-profit organization, was created to inspire and rejuvenate the entrepreneurial spirit and culture as one avenue of building a better society. IPED is a meaningful component of a larger ecosystem that aids daily in human development. IPED is one small part of the greater accomplishment of Dr. Persaud's lifetime, but I will claim unreservedly it is one of the most meaningful contributions of his, as IPED is sustainable and will grow to benefit many more generations to come. Dr. Persaud is a Guyanese success story. He is an icon, a master entrepreneur, and a great humanitarian whose vision, foresight, and hard work have built many great businesses and business support ecosystems. He built not only for himself, but for many others. His work must not be forgotten and must be used to inspire many others. Inaugurating a bust in his honor is meant to remind the future generations and inspire the entrepreneurs seeking the support of IPED that great success can be achieved when you choose to do something about the challenges you encounter in life. Dr. Persaud, I thank you on behalf of the thousands of beneficiaries of IPED for all your contributions to society, and I'm sure this bus will inspire many others over many more moons, as you will see it to come. May God continue to bless you with peace of mind, health, and happiness as you continue to shine in this lifetime on earth. Please give Dr. Yesu Persaud a round of applause. And since I have your attention, and just from a personal note, I would like to thank IPED for this kind contribution in recognition of Dr. Persaud. I would also like to thank Mr. Ivor Thom, the sculptor who created this masterpiece that we will unveil. I would also like to thank Peter Pompey from Basil for your generous contribution of providing the bronze and the foundry services. And I would also like to thank the Minister of Finance for unveiling it on our behalf today. But that's not a vote of thanks, but I'd just like to express my personal gratitude to each of you. So thank you very much. Our chairman is unavoidably absent. He's out of the country and would have really liked to be here, but due to other circumstances, he regrets not being here. So on his behalf, I would like to read a message that he has sent for us to relay to all of you and to Dr. Persaud. Message from Komal Samaru on the occasion of unveiling the bust of Dr. Yesu Persaud, founder of IPED. Firstly, I deeply regret my inability to be present in person as my present circumstances do not make this possible. But my thoughts and emotions are with you on this most important and historic occasion. My professional association with Dr. Persaud dates back 45 years, since 1976. Please know that that is Mrs. Samaru, all right? I am not 45 years. During this period, as a young professional, I have benefited from his leadership in times of great uncertainty and change. His never-ending optimism, his belief that everything is possible, and his determination to make a difference are qualities that stood out and made those of us who were associated with him better persons. After more than a decade of the state controlling the commanding heights of the national economy of Guyana, it became clear in the mid-1980s that that model will not bring prosperity to this country. Private investment and entrepreneurship were at an all-time low, and there was a need to rekindle the people's confidence in their ability and to take their destiny in their own hands rather than waiting on the state to do it for them. It was in these circumstances that Dr. Persaud, whose mantra was, "Nothing will happen unless you make them happen," went to work with his professional colleague, the late W.G. Stull, to conceptualize and create this institution we now know as IPED. From humble beginning with one employee and a board of directors of volunteers, Dr. Persaud led the growth of IPED to what it is today. And to quickly summarize what that is, over 100,000 loans disbursed, over $30 billion of loans disbursed, with a value today of $4 billion worth in assets. So thank you very much, sir. His tireless and persistent effort to get subscribers initially and to attract international institutions such as the Pan American Development Foundation, Canadian Foundation for International Training, CEDA, and USAID to buy into the concept and vision and provide support must always be remembered, as this laid the foundation on which to build the Institute. The tens of thousands of clients over the past 35 years who have benefited from the work of the Institute and their contribution to the national economy must also not be underestimated. Their lives have been changed permanently as they found new meaning of taking control of their destiny from the training and access to finance provided by IPED. In this post-peak pandemic era, the world is recognizing the critical role that micro and small businesses must play in revitalizing the global economy. Dr. Yesu Persaud recognized that more than 35 years ago, and today I join in giving permanent recognition to his role in creating this most outstanding contribution to Guyana and its future. Komal Samaru, Chairman of IPED.
I consider myself deeply privileged to be able to join you this morning to participate in this very, very special occasion, very important occasion. I have not had the privilege of knowing Dr. Persaud for 46 years like Mr. Komal Samaru has. But when I did the numbers, it came perilously and embarrassingly close to 46. I will not disclose for how many years I've known Dr. Persaud, and indeed I've known of him for even more. As indeed would most Guyanese of the current generation, current and immediate past generation, because Dr. Yesu Persaud's name has been a household name in Guyana in so many different capacities, and arising out of the multitude of different avenues through which he has provided public and other service to our country. I wish to highlight just a few of these, and I emphasize just a few of these because indeed, if we were to compile or articulate a comprehensive compendium of Dr. Persaud's track record and service to Guyana, I think we'd be here for a very, very long time. I wish to highlight just a few instances, a few examples rather, of contributions that Dr. Yesu Persaud has made to the Guyanese landscape, lasting contributions he has made to the Guyanese landscape. And I will situate these, all of them, in the context of his personal motto, which Ramesh repeated on Mr. Komal Samaru's behalf, when he said that Dr. Persaud has often and perhaps always said that things will not happen unless we make them happen. And I really do believe that as we look back at the many contributions that Dr. Yesu Persaud has made, we see that motto in action and we see it manifesting itself in many ways. First of all, if I were to give the example of DDL, which perhaps is where Dr. Persaud's first rise to national prominence might have originated. Oftentimes it would be easy to accept the status quo. You know, you're managing a company, the company is growing nicely, you're returning good financial results. It would be very easy for all of us in whatever we do to accept the status quo and say things are going very well. There's no need for me to push the frontier, push the boundary, rock the boat. But Dr. Yesu Persaud has never been like that. So notwithstanding that, no doubt when he took the helm of DDL, they had a good product and the company was perhaps on course to doing well. Not content with simply going with the flow. I think it would be fair to say that by the leadership that he demonstrated, and the efforts that he made, DDL has now emerged to be a world-class producer of a world-class product, which is found in every corner of the world. As many of you know, I spent the last 5 years, prior to my return to Guyana last November, I spent the previous 5 years working out of Guyana. And prior to that, of course, I traveled I had the privilege of traveling extensively through work, being in government. And on every occasion that I travel overseas, I search to see the shelves of wherever I am, whether it's at the airport, at the duty-free shop, or in a supermarket in a city. I always search to see if perchance I might see a Guyanese product. And without a doubt, the Guyanese product that I've seen most present in global marketplaces by a long distance is the product that comes out of the Demerara Distillers Limited. And indeed, I think Dr. Persaud and DDL deserve a round of applause for that. And it has given me a special pride to travel to the far corners of the world and see a DDL product there. And I felt an immense sense of national pride to see that we had made our mark, at least in one. Ideally, of course, I'd like to see several Guyanese products on the global shelf. But the fact that we were able to get one, I think, is a sign that it is a clear indication that it can be achieved. But these things don't happen by magic. They don't happen by, hoping for the best. They don't happen by accident. Maybe some things might happen by accident. But I think it would be fair to say, and I doubt that anybody would disagree with me if I were to say, that the global success that DDL has now achieved and the global presence that they have now achieved are thanks in no small measure to the leadership provided by Dr. Yesu. Secondly, if I may give another example, IPED, of course, a lot has been said already about IPED's vast contribution, and I will not repeat this. But indeed, in the very early days, even when the nomenclature, when the language of micro-enterprise was still very new, when people didn't really know what this was, Dr. Yesu Persaud spotted the potential for small loans to be provided to new and emerging and aspiring entrepreneurs, and saw the tremendous impact that can have in promoting a culture of entrepreneurship and helping small businesses to get established and to grow and to emerge. And I feel very strongly that that is important, because it is my firm conviction that it is the small businesses of yesterday that are the medium and large-sized businesses of today. If you look around the world, some of the world's largest companies started in somebody's garage, or in somebody's living room, or on somebody's computer, or on somebody's desk. And that is not, the world is full of examples, and indeed Guyana is full of examples of businesses that started as a small family-owned business, operating in somebody's living room, or operating in somebody's bottom house, and then growing into a small shop front, and then growing into a larger shop front, and then growing into a medium and a larger business. There are many, many examples that we can turn to. And so the great vision in recognizing the potential of small and micro enterprises demonstrated by Dr. Yesu Persaud in establishing IPED is also what I would consider another example of a major, really major and lasting contribution to Guyana. If I might give a third, Demerara Bank. At a time when there was still at best an early emergent private sector recovering from the days of state control of the economy, and when there was limited private presence in the financial services sector, And I've heard the story told. I've had the privilege of speaking at many Demerara Bank events, and I've heard Dr. Persaud speak about the early days when he conceptualized Demerara Bank and advocated its establishment, and eventually realized its establishment as an indigenously owned bank, an indigenously owned and established bank in Guyana. And today, Demerara Bank makes the vast contribution that it does, and has the vast footprint that it does. Only just a few months ago, I had the privilege of joining His Excellency the President and Dr. Persaud at the opening of the Mahaika branch of Demerara. I give these examples really to make the point that it would be easy for any of us to sit in our current position and to say, you know, things are going fairly well, the company is doing fairly well, there's no need to push the frontier. And it would have been very easy for Dr. Yesu Persaud to sit down and say, you know what, I'm heading a big company, DDL, life is pretty comfortable, why bother to, you know, overexert myself and push the frontier and establish all of these new things. But his is a shining example of what pushing the frontier, pushing the boundary, testing the boundary, and pushing it further. His is a shining example of what can be achieved when we are prepared to push the frontier, to innovate, try to do something new, to make things happen. And that approach to life, that philosophy, I am particularly pleased to say is demonstrated not only in Dr. Yesu Persaud's attitude to business and commercial activity, but also to public life and issues of national interest and national importance. Indeed, if one were to go back to the pre-1992 days and Dr. Persaud's involvement in the historic Guard and PCD movements of those days, I see he's smiling behind his mask, the days of the Guard and PCD efforts to achieve the restoration of democracy in 1992. Here again, the head of a major industrial company, it would have been very easy to say, let me sit down and see what will happen. There's no need for me to rock the boat. There's no need for me to come out and take a stand on this issue of national importance. But Dr. Yesu Persaud took a stand. He took a stand and defended that stand. And with the restoration of democracy, we all saw the transformation that was achieved in the economy and in the country and so on. That, of course, is still very much a work in progress, which has now resumed with the events of with the events of August 2020 and the return to of a democratic culture to Guyana after the 5-year hiatus. And so I want to say that not only in issues, like I said earlier, not only in issues of business and commercial activity, but even in issues of national importance and public interest, Dr. Yesu Persaud has always been prepared to push the frontier, innovate, to do things, literally to make things happen. Because I'm at IPED, I want to make the following point. I believe firmly, and I've been saying this increasingly in recent times, that it's important that we cultivate a culture of entrepreneurship. For a long time, the conventional path, particularly for our young people, has been to go to school and to get a good education and then to get a good job. And that's, of course, a very good path. It's a path that many of us have traveled. But increasingly in today's world, we see the remarkable opportunities of entrepreneurship. And we see the remarkable contributions that entrepreneurship can make. And so it is my firm belief that in today's world, promoting a culture of entrepreneurship at all levels, including in the way we educate our young people, including in the environment and incentives that we create and And this is something that we feel very strongly about in government. As you know, we're working very hard to promote small business and youth entrepreneurship. Only yesterday, we partnered with a major private sector body, UNCHAN, to launch their youth entrepreneurship program. This is something that President Irfan Ali's government, our current government, feels very strongly about. And so institutions like IPED, notwithstanding the phenomenal role that IPED has already played, I believe that IPED and institutions like it have an extremely important role to play in promoting and cultivating entrepreneurship even more widely. I was very pleased to hear the statistics that were cited earlier. I believe that there's a lot of potential for even greater growth, and I would urge Dr. Persaud's successors at IPED to push the frontier just as he did, starting from one employee and one loan to the billions of dollars that have now been disbursed. I would urge the current principals at IPED similarly to push the frontier, because there is a lot of potential for entrepreneurial activity in Guyana. This is a remarkably exciting time. There's a lot of opportunity for entrepreneurial activity, but we need to do what it takes to catalyze. We need to, each of us in our own way, government, institutions like IPED, do what it takes to catalyze. Finally, I want to say this. We live in an age of great negativity. We live in an age of great negativity. It's very easy to criticize. And in today's world, the default position is to be negative and critical. You see something, you criticize it. You see something, you complain about it. You see something, you lament about it. That I get the impression this is the age that we live in. Part of it is fueled by, social media, and then anonymity that social media has given people. And of course, criticism is a very good thing and a very healthy part of a democratic culture. We feel that very strongly. I feel that very strongly. But I also feel that it's important as a society that we do not get consumed by negativity, and that we are not hesitant or shy about being positive. And there is a lot that is happening that is positive. And there's a lot that we need to be prepared to speak about that is positive. Dr. Yesu Persaud's life has exemplified positivity, because his life has exemplified not lamenting what can't be done or why things can't be done or what is negative, but instead identifying opportunities that can be built upon and things that can be created in a positive way. Everything that he's achieved has exemplified that. But I make this point about positivity really to say the following, that while it's fine to criticize, we must not be shy about applauding and praising. We must not be shy about applauding and praising. And there is a lot that is worthy of praise. Many years ago, another Guyanese icon, Mr. Dave Martin, asked a question of not only of Guyana but of the Caribbean. He asked, "Where are your heroes, Caribbean?" Some of you know that song. And sometimes we are shy about identifying, recognizing, and applauding. I think it would be fair to say, by any standard, by any measure, I think it would be fair to say that Dr. Yesu Persaud is not only a Guyanese hero, but a Caribbean. And we must not be shy to say so, and we must not be shy to applaud his heroism, his contribution to Guyana, his hard work, and the remarkable accomplishments of his life. We mustn't be shy to it. I am proud today to be here and to play a part in this very important ceremony to recognize this true Guyanese and Caribbean hero for all time, Dr. Yesu Persaud. Thank you very much.
Dr. Yesu Persaud, you've heard him being referred to as a master entrepreneur, and you know from listening to all the presentations up to this point that this is true. These are not light words. He is indeed a master entrepreneur, and we're celebrating him today because he has dedicated his life to first of all recreate and then nurture the micro and small business sector here in Guyana. It is his vision that led to the creation of IPED, and his strong and focused leadership that has ensured that IPED is sustainable. And it is with those efforts that we are under his guidance for 33 years, and we have continued to improve livelihoods of more than 4,000 clients here in Guyana. Dr. Persaud, we invite you to make some remarks before we unveil your life-size bust.
First of all, let me say thanks very much to IPED and the directors for setting up this event this morning. And I'm more than pleased to see that Dr. Ashley Singh, whom I've known many, many years, is here this morning, and all the things he said. Well, I try. I don't do things unless I think it's going to succeed. I've done many things in my life. Since returning to Guyana, I've challenged the government. And that's one that should never be forgotten. I can't acknowledge everyone here, but I see our old friend Joe. Joe, thank you for coming. And you have the owner of a nightclub here, man. I hear you take people in free. He never invited me, you know. And of course, let me not forget, we have the distinguished Indian High Commissioner here this morning. He's a gentleman of many parts. Sir, if I didn't say welcome at the beginning, welcome. And thank you very much for coming. And thank all of you, the creator of the bust. Gentlemen, ladies, thanks very much. I never asked for anything. I never said to this young man, "Boy, what are you going to do for me?" Nothing of the sort. And with IPED, when I started with IPED with one staff of one, no money, I had to go and seek the money. And I tell you this, not locally, but I was highly successful. So much so that not many people know. But the private sector commission was started by me. And I gave them a building of that, which they're using today. So ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, High Commissioner, I got to mention you especially. Thank you, thank you, thank you.